Come make a rose faceted gemstone cookie with me, one of 3 cookies in the Gemstone cookie set. The first cookie we're going to do is going to be the most complicated, and there are breakout videos for each of these if you just want to watch each individual cookie being decorated. So I start with putting a dot in the center, and then I create kind of a box around it with dots, and then I'm adding a dot in between each of those. And this is just, the dots they're just creating guidelines for where you're going to be piping. So we're going to go straight across, turn it, and then go straight across again. We're connecting 3 dots in a row, essentially. Now, I will say, one of the major things that I wish I had done differently in this set is instead of doing dots, because it left behind icing, I wish I had taken my scribe and poked holes. But what you risk with that is your holes might be bigger than what your icing will cover, or if you make a mistake, you can't just scrape it off and start over. So next, after we created that star pattern in the middle, you're gonna go out, I don't know, halfway between where your star pattern ends and where your cookie ends, and put a dot in between each of those lines. How I am vocally giving you these instructions hopefully makes sense. Watch the visual. That's all I can say. Watch the visual. So now you're going to create little triangles extending from that initial star to the dots you put about halfway out from that star. So they'll look like diamonds in the end. And then after you finish that diamond, take a single line out to the end of the cookie, and you're going to repeat that for all of these dots. So I do a line up to that dot, and then a second line up to that dot, and then a line out. And if you can kind of easily connect the dot and then continue with your icing to the line out, then you're going to be less likely to leave kind of a blob of icing behind. And this is part of the reason why I wish I had poked holes instead of used dots of icing, because it just created a little bit of extra icing and it didn't make the line look as nice. And as I have already said multiple times, line work is my least favorite part about cookie decorating, because it's such a challenge for me. Now, I've seen some beginners be like absolutely excellent with lines, and it's the type of thing for me, I could practice it every day and there would be improvements, don't get me wrong, but it's still not going to be something I'm great at. And part of that is the icing consistency, and another part of that is how you cut your piping bag, and then another part of that is just pressure, your piping pressure. So there's a lot of different factors that go into this. Okay, so we've completed our kind of initial star and line out, and now on the edge of the cookie between each of those lines, you're going to do a little dot or a little mark with your scribe. Completely up to you. And this is again giving us some guidelines on where we're going to be piping next. So now you're going to go from that final corner of the diamond, and you're going to pipe out to that dot, and then you're going to pipe down from that dot to the other corner. What you're doing is you're creating another diamond. It's just a slightly different diamond shape. And this is that facet we're going for. The cuts on gemstones that you see, that's the kind of shape we're going for, and this is our most complicated one. Another thing I will note, at the end of the video, and also if you go all the way back to the beginning, you can see that I have 2 different thicknesses of lines. This is the thinner version. I don't think I have any videos showing the thicker version because I did not like it, and I made a decision to pull out another piping bag, empty the icing into the new piping bag, and cut a smaller line because the lines were just too thick, and this one looks so much better. Okay, so we finished all of those diamonds. Now we're going to finish the cookie by just doing a line along the outside edge of the cookie. Like with everything in all of my sets, this is completely optional. You might not like the line on the edge of the cookie. I think it really completes the facet. If you were looking down at this on your hand, it would look complete, like a gemstone, and not a cookie at all. Okay, I'm lying. But I do think it does just complete the cookie. And again, it is one of 3 in the gemstone cookie set where you dip cookies and then you do this faceted design on top. Give it a try.